Here's the pitch to Ortega, and that swung on and driven to left field. Well hit. That'll do it. That will do it. That's victory 582 for head coach Ron Murphy. And let the celebration begin here at Volcano Vista High School. And welcome back to Volcano Vista High School. Rio Rancho defeats Volcano Vista 22-3. Big key district game, but most important thing, Rio Rancho head coach Ron Murphy, his 582nd victory, passing Bloomfield's John Gutierrez. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, and nothing personal. I would disagree. The most important thing was beating Volcano Vista and being 4-0 in district. The personal records are just records, that they're not really a big deal in the fact that the team always comes first, and my players did an outstanding job. I'm so proud of them.
Coach, I got to ask you this, and I know it hasn't sunk in yet. You had a lot of accolades and some alumni that from Pius coming to visit, and Coach David Howes, the UNM tight ends coach now, the former Rio Rancho coach, football coach. What does that mean to you?
You know what? This has been an unbelievable week since I tied the record. The kids from Sandia have called me from Pius. The Pius kids are showing up at the game, all the Rio Rancho alumni. To me, when an alumni shows up to a game, that means more than anything else in the world. It means that, you've meant something to them. So, those are bigger awards in itself. So it's been a really, David House showing up, and the administration and the principals, assistant principals, athletic directors. It means a lot to me when people care about our kids and our program. So I'm very grateful.
One thing about you is I went into the dugout and talked to you, said, hey, we're 3-0, they're 3-0. You had your eyes focused on today, and the Rams' big 13-run, 6th-inning, they broke out the sticks today, man.
I was so proud of our kids, that inning was started with my son hitting a line drive left field, base hit, and, it's really tough to coach third when your kid strikes out, and it's really exciting when he gets a good hit. So today was a good day for dad and son, and I'm really proud of him and his teammates and how hard all the kids played.
One last question for you, Coach. What's it meant for you? I asked you this a couple weeks earlier to have a final season with your son and the seniors that are graduating. We talked about that. What's that meant to you?
That has meant the world to me. My son missed out on half a season last year, a little bit more along with the other seniors. But to get to have my senior season with my son this year, his senior year, and for him to be there today and have a great game and for us to be together, this record will always mean the world to me because he was on the field with it. And that's why it means the world to me. And I'm so excited for my kids, how they played and how they got better this week. And we got a good baseball team. I'm real proud of them.
Tell you what, if they're not the best baseball team in the state, I'd like to know who is. Coach Ron Murphy, 582nd victory, passing John Gutierrez of Bloomfield. Congratulations to you, sir.
I really appreciate that. And let me tell you something. John Gutierrez is a heck of a coach. He coached in Bloomfield for many years. Good friend of mine. Jim Johns was right behind him, and Jim Johns is a legend. I'm just honored to have my name associated with those two names, so thank you.
As all usual, the humble Ron Murphy. That'll do it from Volcano Vista High School.
As a great intro by our producer, Alden Iwani, our special guest today, Rio Rancho head baseball coach Ron Murphy, who last Tuesday, the Rams beating Volcano Vista 21-3, became the all-time leader in baseball wins in the state of New Mexico with 582, passing Bloomfield's John Gutierrez. And only 3 coaches have 500 victories, Coach. You're one of them, John Gutierrez, also the great Jim Johns. Again, Coach, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I sure appreciate that. And, Coach Gutierrez and Coach Jim Johns, 2 outstanding individuals, not only coaches, but just great people. And I'm very honored to be mentioned in the same breath as them. So thank you.
Coach, it was a heck of a week for you. You also, your team, and we're going to talk about your team also beat Atrisco Heritage last week, 9-0. So 28-3, your Rams outscore your opponents last week. And we mentioned this, and it was kind of funny. We're going to talk about your team, and then we're going to talk about your incredible accomplishments. You also retired as a teacher last week, and you were named the NFHS Coach of the Year for 2019, 2020. I've known you since UNM days, man. We go back a long way. And I think there's no question you're a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. But you're a Hall of Fame guy. And I think that's a person. And sometimes people, we know this, that were in the Hall of Fame aren't Hall of Fame people, man. They weren't. They were not. They weren't good people. I can't say that about you. I've got the utmost respect for you, the way you run your program, your humbleness. It's always team goals, team goals, right? You said that to me last week. When I went in the dugout, we mentioned the record. And the thing that you said to me is like, look, both teams are 3-0 in district. I'm just worried about today. And that's where you've come from. Sandia, St. Pius, and your goals are still the same today.
Yeah, you know what? We tried to make everything about the team. We don't give out individual awards at the end of our season. if they get individuals awards, it's from other people or other places. Everything we do at our banquet, everything else, we don't have MVPs, things like that. Everything we give out is about the team. We're always worried about the team first. I want these kids to be team players, not only just for our team, for the rest of their life. You know, whether they work in a big company, you got to work well with other people. So we want them to learn how to be a team person, starting right now in high school. And you know, we try to use baseball as a tool to make our kids better people. So it's not always just about the game. We want them to have a successful life for the rest of their lives and do good things we could be proud of.
It's a good way to start being successful, right, in a baseball program. And right now, the Rams are undefeated. You've been through enough seasons that you've won championships in 2007, 2009, and 2013, and Rams are undefeated now. And I know you take one game at a time, because we can't win every year, right? We just can't. We want to, but I think the way you build your program, I'll tell you, it's team oriented, like you said, because there's no individual highest batting average, most home runs, lowest ERA, most strikeouts. It's team oriented, and that was on full display last Tuesday. We mentioned Nick Skolich of Volcano Vista hit that first inning home run, right? Good shot. And Nick Skolich is an excitable young man. You mentioned a 4.3 GPA for Volcano Vista, which is impressive. He's excited, man. He's going around the bases, you know, he's clapping like it's a walk-off seventh inning home run. Hey, okay, right? Kids are kids. But the Rams broke out the sticks, man. 13 runs in the sixth inning, and that pretty much answered that. So I think as a team, your team goals, again, good hitting, good pitching. Stuart Smith quietly pitched a very good game, Coach. I don't know that he got enough credit because the Ram hitters performed very well, but Stuart Smith pitched a heck of a game.
Stewart pitched a great game. You know, the thing that went unnoticed, like you said, he was kind of quiet, but they got a lot of pop-ups to the infield and shallow outfield that game. And Stewart had him off balance the whole game. You know, Stewart could have very well went downhill after a two-run homer, put his head down and not compete, but he did just the opposite. You know, he got after it. He drew a lot of strikes. He knew he had a good defensive team behind him, and that's what team does. You know, team backs each other up. Whenever somebody makes a mistake, you know, on the field, we always say it's our job to pick that guy up. You know, and so somebody obviously picked up Stewart. He got his head back in the game, and he did a tremendous job for us. You know, after Jack Kolich hit his home run, and Jack is a great kid. I mean, I know Jack and his family really well, and it was a monster shot. But like you said, it was the first inning, and if you followed Rio Rancho baseball, you'll know we always play to the last out. Our kids play hard, and they play till it's over. And I'm real proud of my kids.
It's a rivalry for sure, right? So Mr. Skolich is such patient. You can't help. That's why they're kids, right? Sometimes we say, hey, tone it down, but all the things that we had to endure over a season of no baseball, of no work, you know, working out in pods of five, of the uncertainty, of the yo-yo emotions. Sometimes all those things spill out, man, and you can't help it, right? You can't help it. They're kids. They get excited, you know, right? They're going to react, and sometimes we're going to say, hey, we shouldn't have done that, but maybe we would have done the same thing, right? We learn. And again, I couldn't blame him. I got a big kick out. I was like, oh, okay, start the fire, dude, baby, let's go, right? Because Volcano Vista and Rio Rancho, you don't need much of a spark to ignite anyway, right? That's a good rivalry. It's not a bad one. It's a good one.
No, it's a great rivalry, and you know, I tell you what, when the game ended and we stood around for a long time before I got to do my interview with ProView, and Coach Todd Flores, the head coach of Volcano Vista, he had his senior night after the game. And when he got done with his senior night, he came out to the parking lot to find me and congratulate me 20, 25 minutes after the game. And that's competing with class. You know, Coach Flores to do that. Jack came over to me, Jack Kolich, after the game while their team was raking up the field. And he came over and shook my hand and congratulated me. So Volcano Vista is pure class. They play hard. They play to compete. They want to win. Our kids want to win. Hey, there's a lot of teenagers out there doing the wrong things in communities. These are athletes getting excited about the game of baseball and doing the right things. And they have good grades because you got to have good grades to play the game. So I'm excited for all the high school kids that are playing baseball right now, no matter what team they're on.
You know, I've been covering a lot of softball and baseball, and I'll tell you, man, I'm covering Cleveland Cibola girls softball game today, and Cleveland under Angel Castillo, that is a lineup like you have, up and down the lineup, speed, power. They make the right plays. They feel good high fielding percentage. They know what base to throw to. Very well coached team, just like your team. So, and it's exciting to see those kids. Normally by now, Coach, we're done with baseball and softball, right? They're getting ready. Most kids that have graduated, it's kind of unusual, have graduated, put that school in the rearview mirror and really don't think about that school until 10 years later for a reunion. And some kids never think of it ever again. So in June, they're still wearing the uniform of the Rams. How do you think that feels for your seniors?
You know what? My seniors are totally invested, and I'm real proud of them for that. Because, you know, that was one of the worries, is that school was going to end, graduates are going to be graduated, and some kids might want to leave and go on summer vacation. And I think a few of those teams may have had some of those kids, but Rio Rancho High School, we haven't had any of those kids. Our kids are totally invested into our program, into their teammates, and their pride for Rio Rancho High School. And you know, our alumni come back all the time and they talk to our kids about pride. And I think the fact that our kids see so many alumni always coming back, they come back to our games, to our practices, to our locker rooms, and they talk to our kids. I think that helps our kids say, hey, I'm proud to play for this school. The alumni have been proud. They come back. I want to be part of this right to the very end. So, yeah, we got some great kids and they're totally invested. And I'm proud of them for that.
Coach, it's a program, right? And you mentioned that, you know, the success that other teams have had, it's a program, and they expect to succeed. You will succeed. That's just the bottom line, right? And you mentioned all the reasons why. You've got great kids. They've got good grades. You expect and by the way, just the tending of the field at Rio Rancho, one of the most beautiful fields in the state of New Mexico. That's a chore in itself too, and one that your players, they get the rakes out. They tend to the field, right? So, and you've got some great people out there. You have Vince Metzger, a great support guy. Bruce Carver back now, who's a good friend. I think the world of Bruce. He's a very classy man, class act all the way. So you've got a good support system there at Rio Rancho as well.
I got a great support system. Mr. Kettler, the principal, Vince, the AD, Larry Chavez, who's the retiring AD, who's been there forever, and of course Bruce Carver and Dr. Cleveland. You know, she heads us all, and her support is totally awesome. But you know, we didn't have a field when they built Rio Rancho High School. The first 2 years we played it in a little league complex, 300-foot fences. So the community, the alumni, the parents, the coaching staffs over the years have built that facility together as one. And I think that's why our kids have so much pride in it. And it's because we've kind of done that together. And every year, our main goal is to come up with one big improvement onto our field. We now have a varsity field. We have a JV field. We have a press box. We have stadium lights. A few years back, we got the National High School Field of the Year. If you look on Max Preps, we got voted last year as one of the top 10 high school baseball facilities in the country. So we got national attention because of our facility, and that's because of the great people in our community and our administration. So yes, we're very excited about that.
Great support system out there, Coach. Coach, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to ask you about this year's version of the Rams and what will take for them to take away the 2021 Blue Trophy when we come back on the sports desk after these messages.
Sounds good.
With 2 outs, runner at second. On the second pitcher, they will, just lost a handle on it. Here's going to be the play at home. They will make that play, and what a job done. The count would have been full, but a brilliant throw coming in from left field, Araceli Morales. What a hit. Dead center field. The wind took it. She's going to come into second safely. Here's the play at the plate, and she is going to be safe.
Left. Again, Davis is flushed out of the pocket, and it's complete to Jared Elmore in the front row of seats.
Pitch from Francois is hit right up the middle. No way that Montez can make the play, and then they compound upon these errors, and there's Begay. She's coming to third, and they do not get the play. Yes, they do, because Begay's hand came off the plate.
Dent will go in motion. Nate looking on the slant. Elmore, touchdown!
hit. That's a home run. Wow. Man, Logan Kincher on the home run for the Storm to pull it within one. Outstanding hit. Just like that, the Storm with the shot to left.
Davis fires quickly to Dent. He is into the seats. Deficit, you'll probably see less of it. Quickly to Xavier Amy, everybody from the Amarillo Venom, the two familiar teammates hook up for the touchdown. Davis looking to the corner to Dello Davis. Can he hang on? Yes, sir!
With 2 outs, runner at second. On the second pitcher, they will. Oh!
The corner to Dello Davis. Can he hang on? Yes, sir!
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast 2026, also streamed on Facebook. Our special guest, Rio Rancho baseball coach Ron Murphy. We're going to look at some pictures that State Farm Insurance agent, sponsor of ProView Networks, Marty Seiss, was kind enough to show. And there's Coach Murphy, you winning one back. I don't know what year that was. Coach, do you know what year that was?
It's either 7, 9, or 13. I have no idea.
It's one of your 3 blue trophies. And again, thanks to Marty Seiss for sending those pictures along. And there's another one. There's there with your son, Tyler, I believe.
Tyler got to win 3 state championships as a bat boy. Now he's trying to win one as a player.
So again, thanks to Marty Seiss and our producer, Alden Miwani, who does such a great job. And Coach, talk to us a little bit about your early start in your career, because you mentioned you started out in Sandia, and then you just told me an amazing story, how you moved out here in '77. Your dad, I wanted you to move out of Brooklyn, and you got a better thing here, didn't know a soul. And for a lot of people, like I told you, I was teasing you, I've known you for years, and that New York accent is still there. You never lose it, right? So what an incredible journey, right? And you couldn't have known in '77 leaving Brooklyn, and again, New Mexico is probably not very well known at that time. You're probably thinking, what is New Mexico? You must have been thinking that, I'm sure, right? So here you are, years later, and look what's happened to Ron Murphy. I mean, sometimes you must just think, wow.
Yeah, when I do have time to sit back and reflect, I grew up in Brooklyn as a young kid with a lot of relatives. When I got to high school, my dad moved to Long Island, New York, which was a lot better for sports and athletics. So I got to play for Newfield High School, Long Island, New York. And then 17 years old, I graduated from high school, got in the car with my dad and my brother and my uncle, and we drove to New Mexico. I had never left New York in my life, but my dad just wanted something different for me. Nobody in my extended family had ever gone to college, and he wanted me to be the first. And he felt like I needed to go away from home, grow up on my own, become a young man, and make adult decisions. And winding up in New Mexico, had Hakona Hall at UNM. Hakona Hall, 3rd floor. And, I was on the floor with a lot of kids from different states. So I wasn't alone. We all had the same thing. We were all out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know anybody, and we became a family. And so thank God for my mom and dad that they had the insightfulness to have me go live on my own, become a young man, and New Mexico was the place for it to happen. And because my dad someday wanted to retire here. He had been here before, So this was his dream place to retire. So he kind of sent me out early, and I'll never look back and never regret the decision to come to New Mexico. I love it here.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. And again, look what Coach Murphy, and again, the impact on people, right? I was real touched. I told you, you said Tuesday's last game against Volcano Vista when you set the record last week with a 21-3 victory over the Hawks. Ted Howard, one of your alumnus from St. Pius of '95, shows up. David Howes, we mentioned, the tight ends coach at UNM now, the former head football coach. And that's what I mean. I was touched by the people that came to see that. That means more than anything. You tied the record. You did it with class. You did it in a lot of different ways. Always about the team, about the community, about other people. Always been like that. But I was just real touched to see people that you hadn't seen probably in a long time coming to see that, coming to see you, and the impact you've had on so many people. And again, you retired from teaching. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's got to be something to you.
Oh no! Anytime an alumni comes back, it's unbelievable. But then that week, I've had so many text messages and phone calls from alumni's parents. Ted Howard was at like my last 5 games. He's like, I'm not going to miss a game until you break this record. You know, he's a second team All-American in St. Pius. When I walked out of that dugout that day, I saw about 12 to 15 to 20 alumni back there from St. Pius and Rio Rancho and the Sandia. And that made me feel really good. I don't even know how to describe it. It definitely brought a couple tears to my eyes. That many people were caring enough to be there for that moment made it special for me. And I love my alumni. I got some great kids that have played for me, and you know, all the credit in the world and all these wins. You know, I know they say like 582 wins. I may have won one of those games, and my players and the community and the administration, I give them credit for the other 581 wins. So thank you for them.
One of the things you did also last week was retire from teaching after 36 years, I believe. And you mentioned you're still going to coach. I saw the NMAA article. You say, hey, I've got some seasons left. You still want to coach. We'll talk about the teaching. You know, we talk about sports because we're sports guys, right? But you've been in the classroom for 36 years, Coach. And, you know, again, the impact, we love sports, right? I mean, we live sport. I still do, right? I love sports. Every day I got to see something about it. But classroom for 36 years, that you'll talk a little bit about that. You retired last week. What did that mean to you?
It was tough to retire. I actually had tears walking out of the gym at Rio Rancho High School the last day I taught there. I've invested a lot in my students. I've had some great students over the year. I loved my teaching job. You know, you get to meet, you know, talk to kids all day that are not athletes, and they have different problems and different home lives. And for you to sit there, for them to come to you and talk to you, and you get to talk to them and, you know, instill your discipline in them and hopefully make them better people. But, you know, and I got tons of ex-students on, you know, my Facebook page that I talk to, and then I see their wedding pictures and their kids, and then they come by. It was very tough to do, I'll be honest with you. I loved my teaching job just as much as my coaching job. I really did. I really loved teaching. It started in 1985 at Sandia High School. And then, you know, and then I went to Sandia High School. Those are the only 2 schools that I've taught at, even though I've also coached at St. Pius and Highland. I've always taught at Sandia or Rio Rancho, and 13 and a half years special ed behavior disorder kids was fantastic. Working with kids that really needed you. I got to practice being a big brother since I'm a big brother of 8, and I felt like I was more of a big brother than a teacher all these years. And in my last 20-something years at Rio Rancho as a phys ed teacher, I think I probably learned a lot more from students than they learned from me. So I'm very grateful for them.
Well, I dispute that, Coach. But you know, that's again the humble part of Coach Ron Murphy. I understand that, but what a net, what a wide net. And sometimes people forget you're not just a baseball coach, man, right? I mean, the students that you deal with sometimes at school have nothing to do with baseball. They have nothing to do with that. The people that you've mentored to are not baseball players. It's a much bigger net, huge net, right? That you've cast, and a good one. Because again, you've touched so many people's lives, and that'll never ever be forgotten. You're still doing it, and I don't blame you, man. Walking out when I retired from the city, it was very hard to do that. I had put 30 years into that of service, right? You don't forget it, and there's still that itch. Hey, man, who needs some help, right? If you're a servant's heart, it never goes away. And so you've got some time now, at least for you, your family. Talk about this. What does it mean? We asked you this a couple weeks ago to play again. You've got seniors that are playing. One of them is your son, Tyler. What does it mean to be able to spend one last season on a gridiron, or I'm sorry, the diamond with your son, Tyler?
it means the world to me. I guess I kind of took it after my dad, or my kids have. I mean, both my daughters went out of state to play college volleyball. One went to Iowa, one went to Houston, and now Tyler's going to Texas. And I look at it as, kind of what my dad did. You're going to go away, you're going to go somewhere else. You're going to learn to be a mature young man. So for him to leave next year and go play at Texas A&M, Texarkana for a great coach and Coach Jones, I'm going to miss him. It's going to be tough. But I know it's to make him a better man. And all my seniors, they all go on, and we got kids going to California, to Texas, to Arizona to play. And, each one of them is really part of being your son. I mean, the word coach, I always tell everybody, is the most valuable word in the dictionary, because the word coach, you're a dad, you're a mom, you're a psychiatrist, you're a big brother, you're a counselor. There's so many definitions of the word coach. And the most exciting part to me is every day the kids show up, whether it's to a classroom or on the field, they have a different personality that day by what happened to them that day, or at home, or in the classroom, or their girlfriend broke up with them. And you as a coach have to try to meet their needs for that day, and it's not always the same every day. And that's the exciting part to me of teaching and coaching, is that it's not a 9-to-5 same job every day.
Especially during the pandemic, I can only imagine how things were different and people's emotions were different. Coach, a couple questions left. This year's version of the Rams is undefeated. I look at your roster: Eric Romero, Garrett Reedy, Devin Alvarado, Colt Uphold, Elijah Castaneda. I love the way that kid hits, by the way. He handles the bat. Hank Kent, Dominic Pretty, your son Tyler Murphy, Joshua Boyer, Tyler Sundstrom. You got Noah Braunschweiger, Brian Vasquez, Ryan Casados, Jason Parker, Marcus Chavez, Seth Lee, Emiliano Valderas. So, again, top to bottom, I think you've got a great lineup. What's it going to take for the Rams to bring home the Blue Trophy in 2021?
Well, you know what? Winning the Blue Trophy is tough. There's a lot of great baseball teams in this state. Sandia has a team over there with Kamatz pitching that's, hit 92, 94 on the mound. La Cueva found out a way to, beat them twice last week. Carlsbad and Hobbs are having a great season out there. Cleveland High School here in Rancho is a great team. There are so many great teams in the metro area and the state. A lot of times it's just who's playing the best the last 3 days. It's you would like to say the best team always wins, but a lot of times it's who's playing the best at the right time. And I kind of hit on something you said earlier. You talked about, what's it going to take to have a winning season. And in my opinion, a winning season happens every year at Rio Rancho High School and for a lot of teams in our state, because if we can keep the kids out of trouble with good grades and doing the right things, those are winning seasons for all of us high school coaches. And my hats are off to all the teachers and the coaches in the state that commit themselves to the teenagers. I know my son has had tremendous coaches over the years and teachers, and so thankful for all of them. What's it going to take? Sometimes it's just a break or two, playing good at the right time, good pitching, good defense, and let the chips fall where they may. But there's a lot of good teams in our state, and we're proud to be mentioned among one of them.
Rio Rancho's on a good path. Finally, Coach, one more question. I say to save this for last. We mentioned Jim Johns. We mentioned John Gutierrez of Bloomfield, Eric Roanhouse, Bill Gentry, Cooper Henderson, Pete Schock, Ralph Tasker, Jim Holzman, Jim Murphy of Hope, right? Mike Brown of Academy. What does it mean for you to be mentioned in that kind of company? The all-time baseball wins, the all-time baseball leader in baseball wins is Ron Murphy, and your name will always be mentioned with those gentlemen. What does that mean to you?
I don't even know. I mean, I'm honored, of course. I mean, those are all names that you have mentioned that I've looked up to. And then I'll give you some other baseball names like Donnie Lorette and, guys like that, and Roger Cordoba, and guys who have been around back in the day in the baseball world that, have mentored me. And Tom McLemore was amazing. So just to be mentioned among them, I'm very grateful. Maybe someday it'll hit me that, my name is being mentioned with them. But, a shout out to Coach Schallenberger at Cleveland High School. If he gets a win today, that's his 300th win. Coach Orlando Griego, what a job he does at Rio Grande. I mean, there's no better coach for Rio Grande High School ever than Orlando Griego.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, he's about to get his 400 pretty soon coming up. So I'm among a lot of great coaches. And really, I'm just proud to be a Rio Rancho Ram. I'm proud to represent Rio Rancho High School. And I'm thankful for that job and that community every day.
Coach Ron Murphy, thanks so much for being our guest. Best of luck for the rest of the 2021 season.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Ed.
You bet. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk. Coach.